Bolitas, whatever you have with you, bring it up. Let me first say that it's an honor to have all of you. Bienvenidos a ustedes. Y si hay, no hay más familias sentadas ahí, por favor, si hay niños o niñas, por favor. And first of all, let me give thanks to the Oakland City Council and to those that are here today to recognize Ceasar Chavez. As the gentleman was talking about Oakland's history, and for those of us that grew here in Oakland, we know that Ceasar Chavez and Dolores Huerta were in Oakland on a regular basis. Let me just give you a historical note about Ceasar Chavez and his role in Oakland. In the 1950s, there was an organization called Community Services Organization that came out of Chicago. That was a Saul Alinsky model that came out of Chicago to Oakland. And it was here at Old St. Mary's, right here in West Oakland, because many of us in the Mexicano Latino community, we lived in West Oakland. So in the 1950s, the CSO organization had the opportunity of hiring three people to represent Oakland, San Jose, and San Francisco. And the three people that were selected one was Jimmy Delgadillo, Ed Gallegos that eventually wound up in San Francisco, and the other one was Ceasar Chavez. It happened here in Oakland. And what happened here in Oakland, Jimmy Delgadillo, since he was born in Oakland, grew up in Oakland, he stayed serving CSO in Oakland. Ceasar Chavez went to San Jose. And Mr. Gallegos went to San Francisco to become political organizers that led to the development of many organizations. In Oakland, you had what they called at that time was the East Bay Spanish-Speaking Citizens Foundation, and that's where the Unity Council developed from. The Spanish-Speaking Citizens Foundation, Centro Legal en la Clínica de la Raza, got their start from that effort. In San Francisco, you had many other organizations, but Ceasar went to San Jose, and eventually he went back into the valley and organized the farm workers. And I think we all know the story in terms of his leadership, his commitment to social justice, and making a difference not only in an environment like Oakland, but also throughout the state of California and throughout the United Nations. And I do want to also recognize Dolores Huerta, because Dolores Huerta was actually here every other week. And because she was a comadre to the Carmen Flores' family that lived right next to the Unity Council. And I used to live on 33rd Avenue. So when we were in middle school, when we were attending middle school, sometimes we were looking for something to do in Oakland. And when we had nothing else to do, well, we go pick a Safeway with Ceasar Chavez group, because we were boycotting grapes. And so by the time I was in high school, I became a professional protester. So I got my training at that level and certainly organizing and leading the group. So I want to get started and recognize our guests, our honorees, and I'm going to begin with Councilmember Larry.
I'm supposed to be last. I'm just to seven and then at large.
Come on, we go from 7 to 1.
Come on, Zach. Good evening, everyone. And to those of you who have been on this evening, thank you for all that you do to making the city a better place for us to be able to live and to raise our families and to watch this incredible city grow to be even more incredible. So I salute each and every one for the work that you do. But my honoree, her name is Zimmy Terrace. She works for AB&I Foundry, which is located in my district on San Leandro. I met her a little over a year ago. And you talk about someone, you ever watched a TV commercial with the little bunny playing the drum? That is so energized. that they just keep going and going and going and don't know when to stop. Well, that's what Zetty does, in terms of the difference that she's making out of my council district and throughout the city of Oakland, in terms of the work that she does for her employer. I mean, I love this woman. She organized huge cleanups to help clean up the illegal dumping that takes place out of my district. I think she must have had almost, 200 people at the last effort to make a difference in our district. And if you drive on the down San Leandro, in my district, starting from 66 on the right-hand side all the way to the San Leandro border, you will notice that there is only one place that is always spick and clean, and that's in front of AV&I Foundry. There is no graffiti on the walls. There's no illegal dumping in front of that incredible facility and employs so many people that it really makes a difference in people's lives and their ability to be able to take care of their family. So Zeddy, please forgive me that I don't have the proclamation for you this evening, but I certainly will get it to you. But you know how much I love you. You know how much the community loves you for the work you do. And thank you guys for helping me to be able to feed my seniors in my district. Because without you, it would be very impossible for me to do the things that we've done together. So I love you, my sister. So thank you.
Thank you. This was unexpected, so I didn't even know this was going to happen. So, AV&I has been in Oakland for 113 years, and we're really proud of that fact. And we want to stay in Oakland. We are really in Oakland, and we want to make Oakland a better place to live in, to work in, and to party, and to have fun. But also, we want to be part of the solution. We don't want to be part of the problem. We want to make sure that we're here for the long run, along with all of them. So thank you very much, and if there's anything you can do, please let us know.
Hello, how's everybody doing? Thank you, Councilmember Guy, for once again bringing us together to very appropriately honor the legacy and the broad legacy of the Honorable Ceasar Chavez. I'm very proud here to honor an organization that has been in Oakland and the East Bay for nearly 50 years. La Clínica de la Raza is a tremendous organization. They were first started in 1971. As a free storefront health clinic started in Oakland, right here in Oakland, by a group of concerned students and health professionals and community activists. They've been here for, like I said, nearly 50 years. They've grown into one of the largest community health center networks in California, serving residents in Alameda, Contra Costa, and Solano counties, approximately 90,000 patients annually. They provide low-cost pediatrics, family medicine, women's health care, behavioral health, dental vision, health and nutrition, in a culturally and linguistically appropriate manner to effectively address the needs of diverse populations throughout our East Bay communities and beyond, and regardless of the patient's ability to pay. They operate several health centers right here in Oakland, and include two in my district, North Oakland. There's a new dental clinic on Telegraph Avenue affiliated with Children's Hospital. And so I'm thrilled that they took over a vacant building and they're putting it to great use. And they have a student-based health center at Oakland Tech High School. So very thrilled that that's happening, and other high schools as well in Oakland. So very happy, very thrilled that those are there, but all the health centers in Oakland and beyond are serving us in many regards. They have over 48 years experience, and they are a symbol of Oakland at its best. And at a time when the federal government, or at least parts of the federal government, are trying to cut back health coverage for our residents throughout the country, we have a much-needed, tremendous organization that is serving residents regardless of ability to pay throughout the East Bay and beyond, and we owe tremendous gratitude for the tremendous work over the decades and years to come. So I want to introduce Jane Garcia, who is the longtime CEO of La Clínica, and she will introduce others as well.
mentioned, I'm Dr. Christina Chavez Johnson, and for the past 4.5 years, I've been a family physician for La Clinica at the San Antonio Neighborhood Health Center, and I deliver babies for all of the Alameda sites at all states. As Jane also mentioned, I'm the grandniece of Ceasar Chavez, and also have one of my step-grandma is Dolores Huerta, so very connected to the family. My great-uncle dedicated his life to fighting for social justice during the era of the civil rights movement that sought to dismantle systematic racism and heal racial inequalities. It was also during this time, in 1971, when La Clinica was founded by a group of concerned students, health professionals, and community activists as a response to the lack of healthcare services for people in the East Bay. They were guided by what would become La Clinica's mission of improving the quality of life of the diverse communities we serve by providing culturally appropriate, high quality, and accessible healthcare for all. My great uncle also taught us that all obstacles can be overcome as long as we are willing to make personal sacrifices and commit what's necessary to fight for what is right. It's these principles that empower us to continue breaking barriers that impede marginalized communities from accessing healthcare services. Last year, La Clinica served 91,000 patients with comprehensive services, including pediatrics, family medicine, women's healthcare, behavioral health, dental, vision, and health education. Our services were offered regardless of patients' ability to pay or their insurance coverage. We also have with us today, we opened a new dental clinic, as you mentioned, a new building, a CHO. We have some people here from there, as well as our Oakland Tech clinic. These are very important clinics to us, and we're so happy to have you. It's with great honor and joy that I received this award on behalf of La Clinica and the 1,000-member workforce that we have and make it possible for us to fulfill our mission each and every day.
Thank you so much. Good evening. So it is an important moment to honor not only the fight for justice that has already happened, but the fight for justice that continues. To honor Ceasar Chavez means to continue to fight for these values, for racial justice, for honoring the dignity of workers, and to make sure that we treat everyone with respect. And so I am pleased, as your at-large councilperson, to have the opportunity to thank and honor Mr. Gary Jimenez, who embodies and continues these values and these important steps. Gary Jimenez is a vice president of SEIU Local 10-1 and has worked for over 2 decades, both in terms of supporting our schools and making our schools a welcoming environment for our young people, as well as working here on the local level as a community organizer, as someone fighting for respect and dignity for workers, and to make sure that we uphold not only the memory, but the living legacy of the importance of these values and this work. Thank you so very much for what you do, and I want to give you an opportunity to share some words. Thank you.
First up, I want to say thank you to Board President Captain for putting my name forward for this honor. I'm very honored by that. Appreciate that very much. And thank you, Councilman Bugallo, for recognizing Ceasar Chavez, the work that he did, the fight that he did, the struggle for working people that we need to continue. I appreciate it. I put that forward. I want to also thank my union. As many people know me as the vice president of my union, but what they don't know is my day job is a day custodian at an elementary school for Fremont Unified School District. How often does a custodian of a school district get to step up, get the honor, the privilege, and the platform